Empress Leora sat in the highest tower of the Crystal Palace on Alaris 7, her eyes closed, feeling the gentle hum of the stars beyond the wide, curved windows. The galaxy stretched in all directions, full of glowing planets, swirling nebulae, and endless darkness. To most people, space was cold and empty, but to Leora it carried stories, memories, and the quiet heartbeat of life itself. She had ruled Alaris 7 for many cycles, and her people loved her for her fairness, courage, and the way she listened more than she spoke. But even as a wise and powerful empress, she carried a secret no one knew. Deep in her heart, Leora remembered a song from Earth, the old homeworld of humanity. It was a melody taught to her by her grandmother, a song full of warmth, of rivers, wind, rain, laughter, and hope. The song could calm storms, mend hearts, and make the listener feel the strength of life itself. No one had heard her sing it in decades. Humans in the galaxy had learned to survive on new worlds, building cities on frozen plains, floating settlements on oceans of gas, and gardens in deserts of red dust. But the Song of Earth had been almost forgotten, a memory of what they once were. Leora kept it as her private treasure. That evening, the air in the palace gardens was soft and fragrant. Strange alien plants with translucent petals shimmered under the twin moons. Leora walked slowly among them, her long silver robes brushing against the flowers. She felt the quiet pulse of life around her, a connection she rarely felt with other beings in the galaxy. A small sound, almost like a whisper, reached her ears. It was soft, hesitant, and almost too faint to notice. Leora paused and listened. It was not coming from any nearby creature. It was coming from far away, but somehow it reached her mind. "Will you sing me the Earth Song again?" The voice was gentle and trembling. Leora's eyes opened wide with surprise. The words had not been spoken aloud, yet she had heard them clearly in her thoughts. She looked around the garden. The fountains sparkled, the wind moved the leaves, but no one was there. Then she saw her, a small figure crouched near a glowing silver flower. The girl had pale violet skin that shimmered faintly in the moonlight, and her large eyes reflected the stars. Her hands were delicate, and she held them close to her chest as if protecting a fragile secret. The Empress walked toward her slowly, careful not to startle her. "Who are you?" Leora asked softly. "I am Naya," the girl replied. Her voice was barely a whisper, but it carried a strange melody that made the hairs on Leora's arms stand on end. I heard your song. I remembered it from my dreams. My world is dying, and only your song can help us." Leora stopped in front of her, studying the girl. She could feel a deep sadness radiating from her, a pain that no medicine or technology could heal. "Your world is dying?" Leora asked, her voice calm but firm. "Tell me what happened." Naya's eyes filled with tears, and she nodded. "Our sun is fading. The plants are dying. The waters are gone. My people, we are weak and afraid. I have heard legends that humans once had a song that could carry hope, that could bring strength to those who hear it. I want to learn it." Leora's heart ached. She had never met an alien like Naya before, one so open, so trusting. Most species in the galaxy were cautious, proud, or suspicious of humans. But this small girl had crossed that barrier with nothing but a whisper and hope. "You ask for much," Leora said softly. "The Earth Song is not a simple melody. It carries memories, feelings, and the strength of all life that once existed on our homeworld. It cannot be sung lightly." Naya's gaze was unwavering. "I do not ask lightly. I will try. Please, Empress, help my people. Help them live." The Empress looked toward the stars, closing her eyes once more. She felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. The song was powerful, yes, but it was fragile too. It could soothe, inspire, and even heal, but it required care. One wrong note, one broken intention, and it could fail. But Naya's courage reminded her of something she had long forgotten. Humans had always survived, not because they were the strongest or the fastest, but because they never gave up, because they could feel hope even in darkness. Leora's eyes opened, calm and determined. "I will sing," she said, "but you must promise to listen carefully. The song is more than notes and words, it is life itself. Can you do that?" Naya nodded. "I will do my best." The Empress led the girl to a small terrace overlooking the twin moons. The night was quiet, the air soft. Leora inhaled deeply, feeling the memories of Earth rise within her. Rivers that sparkled like crystal, winds that danced through forests, The laughter of children, the songs of birds, the warmth of sunlight on human skin, all of it flowed into her heart. And then she sang. At first, it was a simple hum, barely audible like the whisper of a stream. Naya's eyes widened and she felt something stir inside her, a feeling she had never known, a sense of peace, of hope, of belonging. The melody grew, soft notes rising and falling like gentle waves. Leora's voice carried across the terrace, but somehow Naya could feel it in her mind, in her bones and in her heart. Time seemed to slow. The twin moons shone brighter, reflecting in the silver flowers below. Naya felt her sadness ease as if the song wrapped her in a warm embrace. She remembered her home not as it was dying, but as it had been, green, alive, and full of laughter. "Do you hear it?" Leora asked gently. I feel it," Naya whispered. "It's beautiful. It makes me strong." The Empress smiled softly. She knew this was only the beginning. The song had awakened something inside the girl, a connection to life that even the void of space could not destroy. But she also knew that danger was near. The galaxy was full of beings who would fear or even hate this power. And yet, for now, in the quiet night, there was only the song, the girl, and the stars. For the first time in many cycles, Leora felt hope, not just for herself, but for the universe. Humans had survived against impossible odds before, and maybe through a song they could help another species survive too. Naya lifted her small hands, trembling, and touched the air where the music lingered. "Will you sing it again?" she whispered. The Empress closed her eyes, letting the melody flow once more. The song of Earth carried across light years and hearts wrapped around them both. It was fragile, it was powerful, and it was alive. The first notes of hope had begun. The next morning, the twin moons of Alaris 7 were still low in the sky when Naya awoke in the palace gardens. Her violet skin shimmered faintly in the soft light, and her eyes reflected both excitement and a trace of fear. She had never felt anything like the Earth song before. It had stirred something deep inside her, a strength, a warmth, and a hope she thought her people had long lost. Empress Leora was already waiting for her near the terrace where they had sung the night before. Her robes flowed like liquid silver in the morning breeze. "Good morning, Naya," she said softly. "Did you sleep well?" Naya nodded. "I did. But I kept thinking about the song, about my world. It feels like it is calling to me." Leora smiled. "Then it is doing exactly what it should. The song carries more than music. It carries life itself. It remembers the past, it feels the present, and it gives strength for the future. You must understand this if you want to help your people." For the next several cycles, the Empress began teaching Naya the song. She showed her the way the melody could rise and fall like the wind, how the pauses held power as much as the notes, and how the heart must guide every sound. Naya practiced carefully, her large eyes focused, her hands trembling as she tried to echo each tone. She often faltered, but Leora's patience never wavered. "You are doing well," the Empress said one morning, watching Naya hum a perfect note that vibrated through the terrace. "The song is not easy. It asks much from the singer. But it also gives back more than you can imagine." Naya felt a strange sensation when she sang, a warmth that spread from her chest to her fingers and toes. She could feel the plants in the palace garden shivering as though listening, the flowers leaning slightly toward her, and even the stones beneath her feet seemed to pulse gently. It was as if the song itself was alive, touching everything around her. One day, Leora decided it was time to test the song beyond the palace. They traveled to a small observatory overlooking the planet's northern forests. There the alien girl could sing while the Empress observed from a distance. Naya lifted her hands and began. The notes flowed like a river, soft at first, then stronger, then soaring across the sky. The forest responded almost immediately. Trees that had been weak and pale seemed to stand taller. Flowers lifted their petals to the light. Small animals hidden in the underbrush crept forward, curious and calm. Naya's voice had awakened something, life responding to life, a resonance that she could not have imagined. Leora's eyes shone with pride. "Do you see?" she said. "The song does more than comfort. It reaches into the world itself. It gives life strength and hope." Naya smiled, tears welling in her eyes. "It's beautiful. I can feel it. It is like the planet is listening to me." "Yes," Leora said softly, "and one day it will listen to all of your people. That is why you must learn it well." not only for yourself but for everyone who needs hope. But even as they practiced and sang, the Empress and the girl began to notice something troubling. Messages from neighboring planets hinted that the song's power had been detected by others in the galaxy. Some messages were cautious, expressing curiosity. Others were filled with suspicion, and a few were outright threatening. The Galactic Council, a group of leaders from many advanced species, had long observed humans with a mix of fear and respect. Most believed humans were clever, resourceful, and unpredictable. The idea that a human empress could use a song, a simple melody from an old planet, to influence alien worlds seemed impossible. But impossibility often frightened the galaxy more than power itself. Why would they fear us? Naya asked one evening as they walked through the crystal corridors of the palace. They fear what they do not understand, Leora said. Your song, my voice, our connection. It is not a weapon they can measure. It cannot be counted or destroyed with ships. And that is why they will watch us closely. Naya nodded, though the worry in her chest did not fade. She had come seeking help for her people, and now she feared that seeking it might bring trouble instead. Days passed, and the Empress and Naya's practice continued. Slowly, Naya's voice grew stronger. She could sustain notes that carried across the palace gardens, lifting leaves and stirring the small creatures nearby. One morning they discovered a startling effect. The song seemed to influence the natural energy of Naya's own planet. Sensors in the observatory detected faint pulses of energy responding to her singing, as if the very planet recognized the melody and replied. This is remarkable, Leora whispered. No human has ever done this before. Your connection is special, Naya. It is more than hope. It is life itself answering to life. The girl's eyes widened in awe. So, I can really help my people? Yes, Leora said. But it will not be easy. The song can strengthen them, yes, but they must be ready to listen, to feel, and to believe. Without belief, it will not reach their hearts. Naya looked out at the stars, thinking of her home. The forests were fading, the waters drying, and her people's spirits were dimming. But the melody she now carried in her heart could bring them hope. She clenched her fists with determination. I will make them believe. I will make them strong again. That evening, Leora sang alongside Naya. The two voices merged, a perfect harmony that seemed to stretch across space itself. The palace shimmered with energy, and far beyond, sensors detected a subtle glow spreading through the northern forests. The song was not only reaching Naya's planet but seemed to ripple out into the void, a quiet wave of life moving across the galaxy. But not all eyes watching from afar were friendly. On a distant starship, members of the Galactic Council murmured among themselves. This is dangerous, one said. Humans are influencing other worlds with a song. They are gaining power we cannot measure. Another shook their head. It may be a miracle or it may be a trap. Either way, we must observe closely. The Empress cannot be allowed to continue unchecked. Back on Alaris 7, Leora and Naya were unaware of the Council's concern. They were focused entirely on the song and its effects. Naya's people would soon feel its warmth, but first the girl had to master it fully. The Empress knew it would take time, patience, and courage, and she knew they would face challenges. Not only from the natural difficulties of learning the song, but from those in the galaxy who feared human power and creativity. You are ready for the next step, Leora said one morning, taking Naya's hands in hers. Tomorrow we will send the song to your planet. You will not be there in person, but your voice, your heart, and your belief will reach them. Are you ready? Naya nodded, though her stomach fluttered nervously. I am ready. I trust the song. The Empress smiled, placing a gentle hand on the girl's shoulder. Then tomorrow your people will hear what humans have always known. That life, hope, and courage cannot be destroyed, even by the darkest void. And you, Naya, will be their first messenger. As the night fell, the two practiced one last time, their voices intertwined, rising and falling like the winds on Earth, carrying the memory of oceans, forests, and sunlight across the galaxy. Naya felt her fears melt away. She could feel the strength of life itself moving through her, connecting her to her planet, to Leora, and to the countless species who might one day hear the song. And as the last notes faded into the night, a small smile appeared on Naya's face. Tomorrow, my people will hear it, and maybe they will remember hope again. Leora nodded, closing her eyes once more. The song had begun its journey, and though the galaxy was watching, though challenges and dangers awaited, they had taken the first step. A song had bridged worlds, and for the first time in many cycles, hope had a voice. The morning sun rose over Alaris 7 like a pale gold ribbon stretched across the horizon. In the palace gardens, Empress Leora and Naya prepared for the day's practice. But the air was different now, thicker, charged with energy, as if the song they had been nurturing was already stretching beyond the planet, reaching places neither of them could see. "Do you feel that?" Naya asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Her large violet eyes scanned the sky as the twin moons reflected faintly in the morning dew. "I do," Leora replied. "The song is moving, Naya. It is responding to the world, to your voice, to your heart. But something else is out there too. Be careful." Naya nodded, though a shadow of worry crossed her young face. They had sensed it before faintly, a ripple in the energy field that surrounded their world. Now it was stronger, as if someone or something was watching their progress with keen interest. Despite the unease, they continued practicing. Leora taught Naya how to shape the song with intention, to weave emotion into every note. "The song does not only exist in sound," she explained. "It exists in feeling. It carries your courage, your memory, your hope. That is why it can reach worlds beyond our own." Naya hummed softly, closing her eyes. The melodies rose, lifting the petals of flowers and swaying the small trees in the garden. For the first time, she could feel her connection to her planet fully. The forests of her home, though far away, seemed to respond to her energy. Streams that had begun to dry shimmered faintly in her mind, and the distant cries of birds echoed in her thoughts. The Earth song was not just a memory, it was alive. But not everyone across the galaxy welcomed this awakening. Far away on a silver starship orbiting a desert world, members of the Galactic Council watched the sensors closely. "The humans are doing more than we feared," said one of them, a tall figure with crystalline skin that shimmered under the ship's lights. "The girl is amplifying the song. It is affecting not only her planet but neighboring systems." Another leaned over the console, frowning. "We must decide what to do. If the song continues to spread, humans may gain influence far beyond what we can control. And it is not a weapon we can fight with fleets or lasers. It is something else entirely." Meanwhile, back on Alaris 7, Naya's progress accelerated. Leora could see the subtle changes each day. The girl's voice grew stronger, more confident. The plants around them seemed healthier, more vibrant. Even small animals that had been hidden for cycles began venturing into the palace gardens, drawn by the song's resonance. "You are doing well," Leora said one evening as the sun dipped behind the horizon. "Soon your people will feel the strength of the song themselves. But remember, it is not only about power. It is about connection. Without belief, the song cannot reach their hearts." Naya nodded, but a shadow of doubt lingered. What if they do not believe? What if they hear the song and nothing changes? Leora placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "They will believe, Naya. The song carries truth, courage, and hope. Those who open their hearts will feel it. Those who close their hearts may resist, but even they will remember it." The next morning, they prepared for the first true test. Naya would send the Earth song to her home planet for the first time. The observatory sensors had been tuned to transmit her energy across space. Leora watched carefully, guiding her with soft words and gestures. Naya took a deep breath and began. The first notes were soft, cautious, like a breeze rustling dry leaves. Then her voice rose, confident and clear, filling the observatory with vibrations that seemed to ripple through the walls. Leora followed, harmonizing with her, strengthening the melody, shaping it like a wave that could travel across light years. On Naya's homeworld, far across the stars, people paused. Many had been discouraged by the dying forests, shrinking rivers, and fading sunlight, but now they felt something stir inside them. A soft warmth, a memory of joy, a whisper of hope. Those who had nearly given up began to stand taller, their eyes brightening. Streams shimmered faintly under the sun, leaves lifted as if listening. Even the animals seemed calmer, drawn toward the melody that flowed through the atmosphere like a gentle wind. Naya gasped softly, tears streaming down her face. It is working!" "Yes," Leora said softly. "Feel it, they are listening. They are remembering who they are, and soon they will find strength again." But shadows loomed. Not all species welcomed the change. On distant planets, factions that had long distrusted humans began to stir. Whispered messages and urgent communications crossed the galaxy. "The humans' influence is spreading. The song is Unnatural. We cannot allow this to continue unchecked. Leora sensed the tension growing. The council's fears were real. They had always respected human ingenuity but feared it too. The song was a demonstration of humanity's unique power, not through weapons or technology but through creativity, courage, and hope. That very fact made others uneasy. Naya, however, focused entirely on her people. Each day she sang, each note flowing stronger and more confident. She could feel her planet responding. Trees lifted their branches higher, flowers opened wider, and streams began to glisten with renewed light. Even the people themselves, though far away, felt a spark in their hearts, a remembrance of their own courage and potential. One evening, after a long day of practice, Naya turned to the Empress with determination. "I can feel them changing. They are remembering hope. But will it be enough?" Leora smiled gently. "It is never about one day or one song, Naya. Change takes time. But you have started a ripple. That ripple will grow. You are their first messenger, and as long as you continue, they will remember who they are, and they will find their strength again." The galaxy, however, was beginning to notice. Ships from rival factions began to move closer to Alaris 7, watching from afar. Sensors recorded the energy waves of the song, analyzing them for signs of danger. Humans had never faced this kind of attention before, a threat not from weapons or politics but from hope itself. Leora sensed it but did not fear. "Those who fear the song fear life itself," she said to Naya one evening as they practiced under the twin moons. "They do not understand that it can only strengthen those who listen willingly. It cannot be forced. That is what makes it human. That is what makes it ours." Naya nodded, her violet eyes shining with resolve. "Then we will continue. We will protect the song, and we will help my people, no matter what." The Empress placed a hand over hers. "Yes, that is why humans have always survived. Not because they were the strongest, but because they never gave up. Even against impossible odds, even when the universe seemed against them. And now, Naya, you carry that same strength." For the next cycles, they continued to sing together. Each day, the effects grew stronger. Forests healed slightly. Rivers shimmered. People smiled again. Hope returned in small, fragile sparks, but sparks that could ignite entire worlds. And as they sang, Leora realized something profound. Humans' greatest power had never been weapons, ships, or colonies. It had always been their creativity, their empathy, their ability to inspire and unite. The Earth Song was proof of that. A melody, simple and fragile, had the power to change the galaxy. Yet even as light spread across Naya's homeworld, darkness loomed. The council and rival factions watched carefully. Soon, the Empress and the young girl would face challenges they could not yet see. Forces that feared hope, that feared humans' unique strength, would move to stop them. But for now, in the quiet night, the song carried across space. It lifted hearts, healed lands, and reminded every listener that life was worth protecting. And in that moment, Naya understood what the Empress had always known. The Earth Song was more than music. It was courage, hope, and life itself. The stars watched silently as two voices intertwined, human and alien, old melody and new, sending waves of light and life across the universe. And though shadows of doubt had begun to gather at the edges of the galaxy, the first steps toward hope had already begun. From the towers of the Crystal Palace on Alaris 7, Empress Leora watched the stars shimmer in the darkness. Naya stood beside her, her violet skin glowing faintly in the light of the twin moons. They had sung the Earth Song together for many cycles now, sending its melody across Naya's planet and into the hearts of countless people. The first sparks of hope had grown into small flames, but they were not alone. Rival factions, uneasy and suspicious, had begun to move their fleets closer to Alaris 7. The Galactic Council had convened emergency meetings, debating whether humans' power expressed not through ships, but through a song was a gift or a threat. Some whispered that humans were manipulating life itself, bending it to their will. Others argued that the Empress had shown nothing but compassion. Still, the tension in the galaxy was undeniable. "Are they coming for us?" Naya asked softly, her eyes wide with worry. Leora placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "They may be watching, Naya. Some may even try to stop us. But the Earth Song is not a weapon. It cannot harm unwilling hearts. It can only give strength to those who are ready to receive it. That is why we must not fear them. We must continue. The girl nodded, drawing a deep breath. Today would be the day they reached the hearts of her people fully. Naya's planet had begun to respond to the song in ways she could barely believe. Forests were greener, rivers sparkled, and even the smallest creatures long hidden in fear emerged once more. But her people's hearts had not yet fully awakened. The Empress led Naya to the observatory terrace high above the palace gardens. From there their voices would carry farther, and Naya's connection to her homeworld would be strongest. Leora took a deep breath and began the first notes, soft and gentle, a prelude to the melody that would soon echo across light years. Naya joined in, her small voice rising, then soaring, then harmonizing perfectly with Leora's. Together they sang. The notes twisted and turned through the observatory, through the palace gardens and far beyond, carried on waves of pure energy that resonated with the very life of Naya's planet. Back on the alien world, people paused. Many had almost given up hope, their hearts heavy with despair, but now they felt the song touch them. Warmth spread through their chests, like sunlight through a long darkened forest. Memories of joy, laughter, and courage returned to them. They remembered who they were. Children laughed again. Parents smiled and hugged their families. Farmers looked at the land and saw life returning. Streams shimmered as though waking from a long sleep. The Earth Song had crossed the void of space and reached their hearts. Naya's eyes filled with tears. It's working. It's really working. Yes, Leora said softly. You carried it with your heart. Now they can remember what they almost lost. But the galaxy's observers were not silent. The rival factions realized that the song was more than just a melody. It was a force of unity, hope, and life. Ships that had approached Alaris 7 now paused. The Galactic Council convened again, and debates raged across communication networks. Some insisted the humans must be contained. Others, witnessing the changes on Naya's world, argued that this was not power for destruction but for healing. The Empress and Naya were unaware of these discussions. They focused entirely on the song and the lives it could touch. Leora guided Naya through every note, every pause, and every breath. She whispered encouragements, and the girl's small hands moved through the air as if conducting the melody itself. Suddenly, the song reached a new height. A chorus of life responded. Forests began to sway in rhythm, animals moved with grace, and the skies shimmered with a faint glow. The energy of the song now connected all living things on the planet. Naya could feel it, a pulse of life, fragile but strong, flowing through the land, the people, and even the air itself. But the climax had only begun. On the distant fleets observing from the void, a few could not resist. They tried to block the song using shields and energy barriers. But the melody, powered by belief, courage, and life itself, passed through their defenses like light through glass. It could not be stopped. The song did not attack. It awakened. Those who listened, whether willingly or reluctantly, felt its warmth, its strength, and its hope. Naya gasped as she felt the energy surge. The song, it's everywhere. Yes, Leora said, her voice strong and calm, and it will continue to grow. Your people are remembering hope. And others? Others who resist may not understand yet, but even they will see its power. Across the galaxy, observers began to change. Some skeptics who had feared humans began to reconsider. They saw that the Earth Song did not destroy. It healed, it did not conquer. It inspired. Even the hardest hearts began to feel a faint stirring of wonder. The humans, through creativity, courage, and song, had demonstrated something no weapon could achieve. On Naya's homeworld, the final transformation began. Rivers, once dry, shimmered with water. Forests, once pale, turned green and strong. People stood taller with a spark in their eyes they had thought lost forever. Naya's people were alive again, not just in body but in spirit. The girl fell to her knees, overwhelmed with emotion. Leora knelt beside her, holding her hand. You did this, Naya. You carried hope across the stars. You reminded your people of who they are. That is a human gift. That is why we survive, because we never give up, even when the darkness is strongest. Naya smiled through her tears. We saved them. Yes, Leora said softly. Together we did. The galaxy was watching, and now many understood. The Earth Song had shown that humans' greatest strength was not technology or weapons. It was hope, courage, and the ability to inspire others. Those who had doubted, feared, or resisted were forced to see a truth too powerful to ignore. Humans could unite and heal, even across species, with nothing but heart, mind, and song. And the ripple did not stop with Naya's planet. Neighboring systems began to feel the subtle warmth of life returning. Even distant stars seemed to shimmer differently, touched by the song that connected living things across space. Empress Leora and Naya stood side by side on the terrace, their voices fading into a gentle hum. The melody lingered in the air, a soft echo of hope, courage, and life itself. Naya turned to the Empress, her eyes wide with wonder. "Will we sing it again?" Leora smiled, closing her eyes and letting the last notes drift into the night. "Yes, we will. As long as life needs hope, the song will never end, and one day others will learn it too. The galaxy will carry it, and it will remind everyone that even in the darkest night, life, courage, and hope endure." Naya looked at the stars, thinking of the countless worlds that might one day hear the Earth song. She felt a new strength in herself, a responsibility and pride she had never known. I understand now. The song is not just for my world. It is for all worlds." "Yes," Leora said, her eyes reflecting the twin moons. "And that is why humans have always survived. Because even in the face of impossible odds, even when the darkness seemed endless, we never lost hope. And now, Naya, you carry that legacy with you." The galaxy, once filled with shadows of doubt, now felt a faint glow of understanding. Rivals paused, observers reconsidered, and distant worlds turned to listen. Humanity's song, fragile yet powerful, had reminded the universe of a truth long forgotten. Hope is stronger than fear. Life is stronger than despair, and courage, no matter how small, can change everything. And so, as the last notes of the Earth song faded into the void, Empress Leora and Naya stood together, gazing at the stars. The universe was vast and challenges remained, but the song had shown its first miracle. Life could heal, hearts could awaken, and even the darkest shadows could be touched by light. Naya whispered softly, "Will you sing it with me again tomorrow?" The Empress closed her eyes and smiled. "Yes, Naya, as long as the stars shine and life remembers hope, we will sing again and again." And in that quiet night, across the vast galaxy, the Earth song echoed, a song of courage, life, and humanity's enduring heart.